A common conversation that Sav and I have shared on a very consistent basis is what stage is the best, or what stage is the worst? What stages would you put in a worst to best list? Conversations like that. And instead of looking at things subjectively like we always have, I want to pick apart each stage that we've made up to this point and look at it, the objectivity of it all. What attributes help it and what attributes hurt it? What impact do these stages really have? Attributes that we may be looking for consist of things like its aesthetic, its gameplay, its sense of flow. Do you feel like there's a good sense of momentum in the stage? How well does the difficulty appeal to casuals versus hardcore players? Is there a sense of balance in the difficulty? Things like that. Complaints from players who often participate in the stages would say that Altitude Arc as a first stage is rather difficult, and as a result, uninviting. Players have even gone as far as to say that this is one of the worst stages available to play. So what I want to do in this video is I want to take every piece of Altitude Arc and analyze it to see if I can make a case for it. If I can't, oh well. However, if I can, I will fight to the very end because I do feel like Altitude Arc has its place as an important puzzle piece that inspired the future of the stages leading us up to now. The most common complaint of Altitude Arc has to do with its difficulty, so I figured it is fitting if we start here. To understand how difficulty really works in stages like this, we have to start with the ranking system. For those who may not understand, a ranking system was used to essentially attribute a grade to your performance. If you did really well and you were fast throughout a stage, you took advantage of shortcuts and everything like that, you got a really good rank. However, if you were sloppy, you were falling off a lot, you're going to get a bad rank. And we use this system to sort of motivate players to always try for better. So how does this exactly work? So in our system, there are 6 different ranks attainable. As the worst rank, we have the D rank, which tells you you need to improve, you need to further understand the stage you are playing, you need to find some shortcuts, and you need to practice your performance overall, your parkour jumps, your sense of momentum, everything like that. C ranks serve as the pinnacle of mediocrity. These tell you that you essentially just did okay. Not good, not great, but not horrible either, just alright. Up next would be the B rank, and B rank serves to tell you that you did good. You didn't do great, but you didn't do bad, or even okay. You did a solid job in completing the stage. There is a little bit of moderate improvement still in your future, but you're onto something good here. A rank serves as a sense of mastery, where you're very competent in the stage you're playing in. You know shortcuts, you know the design, you understand the gimmick, keep going. S ranks tell you that you did a wonderful job in the stage you just played, and that so much as 1 or 2 mistakes are the things that hold you back from a rank known as Champ. And Champ is a ball breaker. Champ makes it so you have to play nearly flawlessly to even have a chance to get it. It's incredibly tight, it's tough, but that's the way it's gotta be. So Altitude on its own is already a semi-difficult map because of the precise platforming that you have to complete quickly if you want a decent rank. A lot of the average players who participate in the stage cannot complete it first try and struggle quite a bit. And the ranking system does not help this in the slightest because it's the tightest here it's ever been. I will read these to you. With Mission 1 of Altitude Arc, in order to get a champ rank, you require to beat a time that is better than 1 minute 10 seconds, which in its own right is perfectly fair. If you play perfectly, you could beat this map in about a minute on the nose, which is fine. A 10-second disparity between the champ requirement and your performance, I think, is perfectly fair when it comes to the champ rank, because you played perfectly, right? So there should be a little bit of a disparity there. For a D rank, however, you exceed 2 minutes 30 seconds, and you're getting the worst rank in the game. Even though this map is short, it's not easy, but the ranking system here is unforgiving, and that in itself makes this map way more difficult than it needs to be. If the map had a ranking system that was more accommodating to its rather difficult sort of obstacles, then the map overall would be more appealing, because the ranking system would be, in a sense, understanding and forgiving. But it's not. It's brutalizing. It's harsh. It's cold. With Altitude Arc, I don't believe the difficulty itself is the issue, rather how the ranking system responds to the difficulty. A lot of players are going to play this map and walk away with D's and C's because the ranking system was just too brutal, and they're going to say, well, getting any better on this stage is going to be nearly impossible for me because it's asking for perfection. And that's the problem with Altitude. It can be as hard and as tedious as it wants, but it needs a ranking system to go with it that allows it to be that, without being unfair and hostile. Aesthetically, most of this map looks like a gym, but then there's this black wall right here that takes away from it. It's pretty ugly on its own, but the rest of it has a theme, it has a good assortment of colors, there's a lot of good contrast of multitudes of colors, good sense of lighting, unique designs, everything like that. This map screams out that space facility theme, and honestly, I don't think we could have done much better with the parts that actually look good. Now, another thing I want to talk about is flow, and it ties into difficulty. It changes depending on if you're a good player or a bad player when it comes to this stage. If you are a good player, you're going to feel a sense of flow that is so rare. It's so well done. If you can play this map really fast and you know exactly what you're doing, you will have a blast of a time playing this map because everything's just so fast-paced and it's consistent too. However, if you are anything less than a competent player when it comes to Altitude Arc, rest in peace because the flow is going to suck. You're going to go fast, fast, slow, fast, in the middle, fast, slow. It'll always be inconsistent and that will take away from the experience. So despite all these flaws I said about Altitude Arc with little good to help elevate it, what does this mean? Well, I still stand by what I said. Altitude Arc is still one of the most impactful stages Sav and I have made thus far. And the reason why is that this stage was the first, and it took us a decent flop to the face to understand how to be better. Because stages like Mossy Mountain, Parkway Pier, and Neon Night Shifts wouldn't be as good or even in existence without stages like Altitude Arc. We grew from this, and that makes Altitude Arc a learning experience, a seed that grows into something much greater than what it starts out as. And that's what matters most. So despite its flaws, it perfectly serves its purpose here amongst the stages, and it makes for a respectable stage. Maybe not for its gameplay or its flow, but as a memory, as a symbolism. So with that in mind, I give Altitude Arc my final rating of 6.5 out of 10, which would slam it as a C tier.